Hi everybody, Robert Bruce Anderson again. This is the second video and I'm amused and chuckling as to myself as to how even when I do things free I can't do it quickly. I love to just give and give and give. So just to make a thought of this, by the way, it means that if and when I ever do a detailed course on this, obviously I'm going to go into even more detail, but the cool part is right now you're getting the kind of value that people give on courses that they're charging for, and I'm not charging you for this. Okay, let's get started straight away. So now, the introduction video is called to tell you and set you up to where we're at. Now, if you start your business, there's always going to be a research phase, and I highly recommend you do this. And let me tell you a little story before we get going. Back when I started my hammock chair business, I did it because I chose hammocks and hammock chairs because I had very, very little funds, almost no power tools. I think I had a drill and a handsaw. So I needed to find a product that I could manufacture that people wanted, and I presumed I went to the markets. Now you see, I did this. Experience now has told me lots. I'm going to teach you the opposite. But I went to a market and saw, hey, look, how cool is this? There's nobody selling hammocks here. And therefore, if I bring hammocks here, I'm going to be the only guy and I'm going to sell the most. But I didn't stop to think, why were there no hammock manufacturers selling at every single market? Because they don't sell that well. Everybody wants a hammock, but they don't always have a place for it, and they don't really have the extra money. And so I'm not complaining. I went on to run my hammock business for, I've got no idea how many years, 5 or 10 years, 10 years, 12 years, a while anyway. And I branched it out through trial and error to eventually complete garden furniture, patio furniture, benches, all sorts of dog hammocks and things. But the whole story, I'm telling you this, 2 minutes of your life, my bad, was to tell you that now if I went online and did keyword research and looked at how few people look up hammocks with the intent of looking at them to buy them, it's horrifying compared to, let's say, benches. Here in South Africa, and I haven't looked it up for 10 years, 8 years, but here there's something, I don't know how long. Here in South Africa, probably 10 people a month look up hammock chairs. And at times, as many as 15,000 people in the country were looking up benches. So 15,000 compared to 10, which do you think is a better business idea? So you get it. So I'm pointing this research phase with a little story out to you for a good reason. Don't just presume that, yeah, but everybody wants wooden toys. Wooden toys will sell. My wife and I were discussing earlier, blocks, wooden blocks. The kids, my wife runs a daycare, and the kids love the blocks. There's all sorts of toys here, from bicycles to things, and yet the one thing that they just completely play with over and over again are blocks. Blocks of different sizes that can build things. Truth is that the bigger they get, I think the bigger the kids, happier the kids would be. But you can't very well have them build a 3-meter high wooden block thing and then let it fall on them. But you get what I'm saying, is that it's about researching what people want and what will sell, and that's what I need to make it very clear to you. So in a detailed course, I'll go into this in more detail, but the reality is write down your ideas, all 50 of the things that you think, or 20 that you think, I really, really think I could enjoy doing these. Jewelry boxes, blocks for kids, toys, old school kids' toys, I don't know, kitchen cupboards, benches, bird feeders, doesn't matter. Write them all down. Go online, start with the images. Have a look at what people are doing, and if there's lots of and huge variation. But more importantly, go to do research keywords. Now, further down in the links, I've got a link for you that will show you where and how. It's free training for now. Later on it might not be, but so far it's free. And it'll teach you how to research keywords and do it for local competition too. So you need to research the keywords for every one of your ideas. So bird feeders versus benches versus kids' toys. Have a look if people are looking them up. It's only through knowing if there's a huge demand for it or a mediocre demand for it that you will know if this research phase idea will work, okay? So there are certain things that don't always work, so you've got to use your brain as well. I mentioned already the bird feeder thing. Everybody's got a bird feeder, but they don't always go and search for them. There's other things too. wooden chopping blocks, chopping boards. People don't necessarily look up wooden chopping boards, but when they're at a craft market and they come sailing past your stall and you've got these absolutely beautifully oiled hardwood chopping boards at reasonable prices, they're going to think, wow, and they're going to buy them. So especially if you add it with a display product like chopping cheese on it, you have cheese and wine and chopping boards. Now you're creating an emotion, and people buy from that. So sometimes your online keyword doesn't really give it to you, but that's why I've said research local competition, and this would involve. And again, I'm not going into too much detail here. I've got a very cheap course down below, right at the bottom. Let me show it to you right now quickly. It'll say go to the craft research course. Here we go. And I don't even know how much money it is. Sorry, I'd like to tell you I do know. But it helps you. It'll help you look to do your research through stores, through shopping markets, through malls, at craft markets, at flea markets. Go to where people are buying things. If other people are displaying it, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll sell. If some guy has made 5,000 chopping boards and put them on a market, and that day you pitch up and think, wow, if he's doing it, he's making money. No. In fact, the truth is, go and speak to him. Say, wow, these are beautiful. Have you been making these long? And if he says 30 years, yeah, I bought a house in the Bahamas, good for you. Then do them. Don't believe him first up. But, okay, so your local competition, you would research through physically going to look at how much competition you're going to have, but you're also going to have to look to see, it'll help you with demand. How much demand is there going to be? Okay. Now, I've said here very casually, do all other research. That would involve things like checking wholesalers. Real legwork. Go to a garden nursery. I don't know if they call that everywhere in the world, but it's a place that sells plants, yeah? I presume it's a nursery. And you go there and speak to the owner and say, hey, pay attention, sir. Tell me something. I'm about to start a woodwork business. I'm curious, what products would you really wish you could have more of? You know what I'm saying? So what? And he'll say, oh, I'm so glad you're here. We can't get enough of these trellises. Or if we could just get tables that don't have legs, they push with a spike into the ground. Or if we could just get, and you tell him, really? And then you investigate it with other garden nurseries and you find that, hey, they all will buy that from me, and you've got an instant sort of supplier. Don't ever do all your eggs in one basket, is that the comment? Because if that guy decides to close down, or he decides, yeah, but people don't want those anymore, well, you could end up with a lot of money invested in stock. Anyway, do your research in every possible way. I promise you that this is what I've been harping on, and I'm being a bit of a pain in the ass with this thing. But the truth is that the more you research, the more thoroughly you know what the potential is for each of those 10 items you put onto your original brainstorming list, the more you're going to be able to know that you've started with the right, most profitable product. Yeah, it's all very well. Look, if you're just doing it as a hobby and part-time, that's fine, then probably it's safe to go back to the shortcut thing. But if you're making it a business and you don't want to take a chance, and by the way, it can be stairs, staircases for houses. It can be shingles. You could manufacture wooden shingles, but in a certain way, and with a clever interlocking system, so that roofers will go moggy for your product, and they won't do that melting thing. Incidentally, this shingles thing is something I know from the USA and Canada, but who knows? It might even work here in South Africa, because then all you do is you just pop up onto your roof. I say this very casually, once every 6 months, and oil it so that it doesn't just get kind of rotten in the rain and the wind. But they've been wooden homes for years and years, and they do last. So research, guys, research and research. Okay, so once you've done all of that, combine all of this, and now go to your next phase. And if you've, let's say, come up with 3 that are maybes in here, then if you can afford it, do what am I on, 9 minutes? Here, let me go into the next one, at the business plan stage. Make the samples for all of those 3. So I've said here, do costing planning based on those costs. So once you've made something, don't just make it and then afterwards, oh, I think it took me. No. Start the beginning of a day and say, okay, today I'm going to make a baby crib and start making it. Now, it's a good example and a bad example, because a single baby crib, if you made it on its own, is going to take you 3 times as long as if you made 30 baby cribs in a row. In other words, you turn all the poles and you make all the footers and you make all the rocking things all in one shot. You know, that's production line style. But I would make my costs, this costing, I would do it on making a single item. So it doesn't matter whether it's bird feeder or wooden blocks from offcuts. Do your costing and base it on how long it took you, and are people prepared to pay? My favorite thing here as a marketer and an online person is I used to do silly cheap prices, and now all my free stuff is available to you so that you don't come and charge me silly cheap prices. And when I do something for you, like a $3,000 website, it's worth it for me. And I base that simply on how much do I want to earn per hour. And then I go and do it and see how long it takes me. So, and then that kind of tells me. And then if people aren't prepared to pay that price, well then, you know what, I'm going to find another thing that I can do and earn that kind of money in that kind of hours. So it's done. Now, I kind of carried this one into 4 lines. That's hectic. But it's important that you, it should be much more detailed than this. When I simply, sorry, I'm enjoying this. When I simply say, show these samples to see if they will sell, that's damn funny. But in a way, it is that simple. I'm going to try and calm down, guys. If you took those items you've made and take them to your mother, brother, cousin, sister, auntie, those friends and family first, and ask them, what do you think, guys? And they're going to, ooh, or they're going to keep dead quiet, and you're going to know, oh, crap, nobody wanted purple people eaters or whatever you've made. But ask them how much are they prepared to pay for it, because that was something that used to really freak me out. I used to make a beautiful garden bench with springy things and everything, right? And people wanted to pay me half the price. So if in their minds they have this perception that that's what it's worth, it's a problem you're going to come up with wherever you go. So you want them to think, when you've told them, let's say I'm going to use dollars, okay, because this is going to more likely be always in dollars. So let's say I make a bench for $200. I wonder what that is in real money. It doesn't matter, my money. So I make a bench for $200 with cushions and everything. And that's what I want to sell it for. And then I go to my friends and they all say, oh yeah, I'll give you $80 for this. I'll give you $100. Wow, this easily can sell for $120. I'm going to try not to hit them on the head, because it's analysis, it's research that's helping me see that I've made something that they don't perceive it as more. A good example for this is if you make a little clock, a desk tabletop clock, and you make it in a little square box. Don't do this, guys. An ordinary square box, and you mount the clock in the middle of it all, and the whole thing is just literally 300 millimeters square. And then you make a grandfather clock. That's really just a bigger box that it's in, but you give it a couple of curves and some plinths and some details. And watch how people will look at your little box and think, wow, that's worth $10. And then the huge grandfather clock, that's worth $500. Hell, I've got no idea if I'm getting the dollars right. But you get what I'm saying is that once you've got your samples shown, see if people are getting the guess to the price correct. Once they've done that, book a market. Does it say book a market yet? I've got it somewhere in here. Yeah, into the initial marketing stage. So, but this is still in the testing. So once your friends, family, and even a shop or two, take them to a store and say, I'm considering making these by the hundreds. Would you buy them, and what price would you hope to get them for? And look, most of them will say, I don't know. And you say, well, look, I'm hoping they'll retail at $200, and I'd want you to give me $140. And then, well, they'll say, yeah, I'll take those. And you've got your results. Okay, so using that analysis, do a detailed business plan. Now, I can't stress enough as to how hectically detailed your marketing plan, your business plan must be. I do have things that teach you how to do that, and I've got courses and links that I refer to down the bottom of this PDF. But guys, don't start a business without knowing your prices. You don't have to do a business plan for your bank manager, although you might have to. But do it for your own self, so as you know that the price of coffee and the cost of your fuel to pick up the wood from the lumberyard, and it's all built in there, guys. Don't screw that up. It's a business. You want to make a profit, okay? Okay, I'm on 15 minutes, so I'm going to see if I can sneak the initial marketing into this too. So once you've got that and you've done a business plan and you've worked out, okay, those four of those 6 items are perfect, and then you go and I casually put you, make a decent amount of stock and book a market. And the or, I'm not going to go into detail here, but or are the other options, like don't book a craft market, pay, it's more expensive, sorry, pay for mall space. Go to the mall that's in the right area where your catchment client is, your perfect avatar customer, whatever you want to call him, lives. Book the mall space and display your stock. Don't just put 3 things on a table in the middle of a huge open spot in the mall. People are going to think in their head that you're completely nuts. So here's a decent amount of stock. If it's benches, take 20 benches. Don't be shy. They'll all sell. Remember, your friends up here have said they'll pay twice as much as you wanted to sell them for, if they have. So if you do mall space, go big. If not, test it on a market. Go and have a look at what happens, what people say. Now, I need to warn you that the marketing, if you've never worked on a craft market or flea market or whatever, a trade show before, take care. They can be very, very disheartening. There's a couple of tricks that let me tell you one, for example. If you went to a market with a bench or 2, and then you stood there and people came and said, can I sit? And you said, no, I'm making these and selling them. Their perception is already wrong. They think they can just sit on your bench. And they will, by the way. But if you took, and so yeah, what I'm trying to say is if you won't sell any. If you took 6 benches and you set them up in a nice display, you probably sell 2. Now take 30 benches and you put 10 of them in a row, and then you pile all the cheap ones up in the back and put a huge sign that says special offer 2 for the price of whatever. Take care. But I promise you will sell 10 times as many. So there's ways of marketing that will affect your reaction. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter. What I'm really telling you to do here is make a decent amount of stock and book a market, is to see the reaction, see if people are buying it. If you need to make it pinker, purpler, more, I've got no idea, flexible, thicker, thinner, whatever. All these things you will then learn to fiddle with the price, the stock, and which markets work as you go through the initial marketing stage. All right, I'm going to go to, now you go all out. So let's go to consolidate your business. All the time you're trading with people, by the way, on a market, in a mall space, or in a shop that said, hey, cool, bring your stock, let's promote it. You go to a furniture store and say to the guy, Tom, I'll be making these benches. I've got 15 of them so far. Can I, wholesale them to you, and I'll help promote them on Saturday? And you have a look at what the reaction is. People come past and see you and run. Or they see you and think, oh, here's the guy. He's going to tell us whether these are fine in the sun and the shade, whether they can be under your sprinkler, whether they're sunproof, waterproof, whether you can turn them into a boat or not. Those are the kind of things you're going to learn by being on a market. You can't turn a bench into a boat, by the way, or you don't even try. So think about local versus online. So this is something that before you get to the all out, you need to have kind of given this a little bit of mashing about in your head. And the local versus online means benches work beautiful for local. It's a big item. They wish they could get that, and they're going to love it when you deliver that to them for free, because they bought 2 of them from you with free delivery. So not 2 for the price of 1, 2 and you don't pay for the delivery, whatever it is. You get where I'm going? And the guy says, okay, cool, yeah, I could do 2. I've got 1 under the azalea and 1 next to the pool, all good. Start to think of the add-ons or the downsells, the upsells as well. But sorry, let me finish with the low, my bad. Battle to focus on one thing. The local versus online. A bench is not so easy to sell and ship halfway across the country. They're going to pay more in shipping than the price of the bench. Whereas you could make jewelry boxes with the most beautiful inlaid stuff that works perfect for online. And I will go into this in more detail below, and especially in a course if I ever do produce a detailed course for you. But the reality is that you could sell thousands of something online and only hundreds of something locally. So it comes down to your capacity of production, and or whether you do want to go and become a business that's turning over $1 million a month. Your choices. Okay, so if it were benches, start thinking about turning it into a 3-people bench, a 2 and a 1-seater, so that there's variety. Think about, lime washing them or not, with turned legs or not. You get where I'm going. So that now you're getting a different and better and different reaction to what was working, and you're getting an even nicer thing to it, okay? What did I write here? Use the early facts to read your business plan. Okay, this is important. I'm way too cocky and confident in life. I admit that I have this raging ego because I know I'm a genius, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm always just presuming that I already did it the best way. And it's a dumb thing to do. I admit that I'm also equally as dumb. The point is that this research you did back here and your business plan, go back and plug in where was I? This here, varied your stock. So now you've switched it to a 3, a 2 and a 1-seater. Go back and recalculate the manufacturing time for a 1-seater to a 3-seater. I have a suspicion it's the same length of time to make it. And so you've got to allow for that production for a 1-seater is the same. Hell, it's just longer planks in the middle, yeah? And maybe an extra leg to, stop you boxing through the middle. So allow for that and recost it, relook at it, go back into your research and look to see if people are looking up 1-seater bench or 6-seater benches or circular benches. Now you can realize, hey, whoa, let's look into that. Benches that go around trees, folding benches, I've got no idea. You look to see if there's a market for it. You can't totally trust Google's keyword research, by the way, but it gives you a very good estimation. Okay, so I've even made a grin here because this is my ego thing. You really should go once a year or every 6 months. You should go back and reanalyze everything that you do. You'll be surprised what a little bit of time and experience can do to what you thought were the correct numbers in the beginning. Okay, so I've run 22 minutes on this. I will go to the now you go all out into a third video. Let's finish this one. We'll speak again in the next video. Thanks. Cheers.